Everyone is wrong about ounce of prevention. Welcome to the Torch and Crown, the first stop of many as you venture towards the mountain to discover what awaits you there. Just like Darkest Dungeon 1, one of the most difficult things to control as a new player in Darkest Dungeon 2 is your party's stress. And after seeing innumerable tweets and several articles on the subject, I realized that everyone's kind of wrong. At every inn, you can visit a mastery trainer, where you upgrade your skills. And here, at our first stop, you get 1 mastery point. And this is the most important decision you'll make in any playthrough. All new players to Darkest Dungeon 2 start with the same party. You have the Man-at-Arms, Highwayman, Grave Robber, and of course, the Plague Doctor. Every time I've seen it mentioned, what ability to spend your mastery point on? The answer is always ounce of prevention. While I myself don't have the strongest educational background, a little math goes a long way when you're playing Darkest Dungeon. And I think this is where a lot of people are making a mistake. I understand that the goal is to help new players reduce the stress of their party, and I get that it's a really tempting thing to look at this and say, wait a second, this says if I upgrade it, every time I use this ability, it reduces the stress on every single party member by 1, guaranteed. On the surface, that sounds great, sounds amazing, but there is something better. You might ask me, what's better than 100% chance at stress reduction? 50% chance at stress reduction. What? What the f? And I think this is why most people don't recognize this as the answer. Is on the surface, 100 or 50, one of those sounds a lot better. But in Darkest Dungeon, that's not always the case. We have to look at so many other factors. We have to understand what 50% actually means and what 100% actually means. I'll bring up damage potential in just a moment, but just if all we're talking about is stress reduction, you're not actually talking about 50 versus 100. Let's go ahead and look at ounce of prevention one more time, and then we'll come back to Bolster. If I spend a mastery point in this, the cooldown is reduced to 2. Well, that's really the problem, isn't it? It means I'm actually waiting 3 rounds. So if I find myself in a situation where I need to quickly remove stress from my team, I can only cast ounce of prevention every 3 turns. Very often in Darkest Dungeon, this is a situation you'll find yourself in. Your team is stressed, they're yelling at each other, they're getting close to that breaking point. You need all of their numbers down as quickly as possible, so you cast ounce of prevention. And everybody's stress goes down 1. And now you have to wait for 2 full turns in between your casts. So in reality, it's not 100%. You're actually only able to reduce your stress 33% of the time. Now back to Bolster. Well, the first thing you notice is that Bolster has no cooldown. So in a pinch, you can cast it again and again and again, back to back to back. It might not be 100% of the time, it's still 50. So even at that very surface level, Bolster already wins. But let's really quick swing into another few details. Not only does Bolster reduce the stress of your team, it also adds Block Plus to your Man-at-Arms, which is 75% damage reduction. So you're already gaining a major benefit that only expires when the Man-at-Arms is hit. Additionally, if that wasn't good enough for us, it removes Vulnerable from any unit that may have it, further reducing incoming damage. So what does ounce of prevention offer? 15% to all resistances. While that may sound valuable, we also have trinkets increasing resistances already, and the Plague Doctor has an ability to remove those same dots. So just looking at the stats, Bolster's the clear winner. But not only that, it also frees up your Plague Doctor to do things that are much more important for the Plague Doctor to do. Instead of starting a fight with ounce of prevention so you can squeak 1 more in a 5-round fight, the Plague Doctor can already open up with Noxious Blast, damaging units, reducing their health pools to 0 so that we can start those death's door checks. If at any given time we catch up on our stress reduction, the Man-at-Arms can do the other things that he needs to do. Blocking units, dealing damage, dazing units, things like that. And so where I've seen the most common recommendation for your first mastery point, ounce of prevention, it's just the wrong answer. Bolster is clearly the right choice. With stress management being the most challenging thing in Darkest Dungeon 2 for new players and returning players to the series, I hope that this quick tip helps you start your journey right, keep those stress numbers down so that you can get as far as possible and enjoy the game as much as you can.